Okay, welcome back. We're going to be talking about loan deduction programming. This is what we're going to be handled. This program that's going to be handled by an if statement, using an if statement. Now let's get started. Now loan deduction program using if statement. Now let's get started. Now let's declare our data type, int data type. Now let's declare balance is at what? 0. Okay, now at 0, now int again data type. Let's declare another variable, which is what? Credit. Now credit. Now let's declare another data type, which is int. Now let's declare variable, which is loan percent percent. Okay, loan percent is 5,000 naira. Let me say 5,000 or $5,000. You can put $5,000. Okay, now let's move further. Okay, let's go again. Now the last is not the least. Int, let's say debit underscore loan. No, let's just say debit. Let's say debit as data type now equals to, let's bring this down. Now loan underscore percentage. Now this is it here. We're going to explain. Now I want user input. If I want to declare user input, remember at my top here, I'm going to declare what? I'm going to call the functions. That means the system functions. Input java.what? util.scanner. I'm going to make use of scanner. Call it from that such class. Without that being declared, I cannot call what? Scanner. Now this is scanner. Let's say scanner make what? An object here, which is input. I make an object input. Now I declare again scanner. Now I close system dot in. Now I close my statement. There is it. Scanner input equals to new scanner. Now this is my object. Now if I want to make an input, this is what I'll be calling. Now I want to make an input, but before I make an input, I want it to print something out for me. Just print it out for the user. Now which I'm going to declare system dot out dot print ln. Now move to the next line. That's the meaning of ln. Now let's make an input here, which is going to be enter deposit. Now just enter your deposit, the amount you want to deposit. Now deposit amount. Now you want to deposit, you just fill out your deposit space, then this. Now this, just print this out for me. Print this out first for me. I just want you to print it out for me first before I input. That means show me what to do. That is just illustration. Show me what to do. Now I want to make an input. Remember, I want to make an input into what? Credit. Now this is credit here. I want to call my variable, which is what? Credit. Now credit is equal to, I want to pass something inside now, which is what? Input. I want to use the object name of scanner, which is what? Input dot int. Remember, is data type is int. That means input.int. This is how we call it. Now this is it. Anytime you want to what? Input, this is how to call an input. This, please pass the input to hold this what? To be here. The variable is going to hold anything you pass in, which is what? An integer value. You remember? Now enter deposit amount. Now you enter deposit amount. Now store it here. Now let's go further. let's go further. I want to call my balance. Now please, I want to call my balance. I want to say, please store it in this balance. Any credit you make, store it in this balance. Credit. Now store it in this balance. Now you make an input, place it what here, this variable. Now this variable, I call this variable in this next line, please pass it to what here. You know, this is pass it to here. Now you move down here, pass it to what, balance. Now I want to use an if statement. I told you before that we're going to use if statement to handle what, my loan deduction. Now this is an if statement here. If expression. Now if is here, if statement. Now this is it. If statement now comes up. Now if my balance is greater than 10,000, let's count it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 10,000. 3 0 make up what, 1,000. Now if my balance, the something you input store in balance. Now if is greater than what, 10,000, please perform this task for me. Now which I'm going to say here, balance equals to balance minus this, the loan I took, minus loan underscore percentage. Now I close. Now this here is an if statement condition. Now it's a conditional if statement. Now this is my balance. You know, I make an input. Now you store it in balance. This is the balance is less than what, 10,000. Please, balance is equal to balance again minus anything I'm owing, and please pass it back to what, balance. Now I want to say here, print it out. Any result I have, print it out for me. I want to print here. Now this is how to print. System.out.print line, move to the next line. Now this is it here. There's some statement I want here. Now let me put the first statement. Balance after loan deduction. After loan deduction, now show me something. This sign means my what? Means currency. Any currency symbol you are using, you can put it here. This is a dollar sign. Now I give a space again. I say add, call it up. Now plus the balance. Call up the balance. I want to see the balance. Now I want to see what, the deduction. I want to see the deduction. I want to take a look at the deduction. I want to take a look at the deduction now. Okay, let's talk about the deduction. Now let's see here, debit loan. Now this is it here. Let's give a space here. Let's put a sign. Let's give a space here and put what, dollar sign. Now let's say plus additional sign, addition debit. Now see what happened here in my print line. This is just to print out. This is not calling a variable. Balance after what? Loan deduction. Let me say balance after loan deduction. Now this is just to print out. Now I'm calling up what? The variable. Now you can see top of the print, before the print, this is what happened here. I say minus what? My loan from what? My balance, and leave it in balance again. Now I call up this balance here. Please print it out. I want to see the amount left. Now this is what? Debit loan. Also, please call up my what? My debit. Call up my debit. Remember, in debit, I pass in what? I pass in what? A value to what? Loan percentage. This is the percentage I'm going to be what? Deducting from my money each time I'm credited, or each time they pay me in my work. Because I took a loan from a company that, please give me money, I want to travel or I want to use for something. Now this is the money here. Loan percentage they will be deducting. Now I create another what? Debit. Now debit is a what? Is a data type. Now I pass in what? This here to here. Now this is how it's going to run. Please pass it here. Now please, I want to call up this loan here. Now please, this would pass on to what? This is just like a raise, and then two raise. I don't know what I call it, but it's just like I'm putting something, I have to pass it to the next person that will continue what they raise. Now this is how it takes here. Now I'm the one start the raise first. I'll be running. Now pass it to what? This is me, or what? This is Tina. I want to pass it to Tina. Now I pass it to Tina. Now Tina, pass it to what? Debit. Now debit, print debit out. Just give me the debit, which they always debit me. That is what I mean. Now this is balance. You know what balance mean? I make an input here. Now you input, pass it to what? OWAS pass it to Tina. Tina pass it to what? Final man. Now final man, I call up what? The final man here. Now this is how it's going to run. It's going to minus what? My input amount being paid. Now enter your deposit. They want to pay me. They want to pay me 20,000 naira. 20,000. Now count the 0. This is the 20 here. This is the what? 1,000. Let's start. 1, 2, 3. This is 20,000. Now let's enter. Balance after loan deduction is $15,000. Debit loan is $5,000. Now let's give a space here. Let's give a space here. Now, so that there will be a space here between what? The integer value. Now let's continue again. Why is it showing an error? Please, let's remove this. That's supposed to be here. Now opening, close. Okay, there's no error again. Now I don't want it to be showing that. Now let me terminate. Let me run again. Now enter $20,000. Now as you can see here, balance after loan deduction is $15,000. Debit loan is what? $5,000. I make something here which, let me redo it again. Okay, I need a space in this debit, which is this. I need a space. Okay, now the space is okay. Now I don't need a space here. I don't need a space here. I don't need a space here. Now let's run again. Now I place 20,000 as my what? My salary. $20,000 as my salary. Now fine, as you can see here, it is very, very clear and understandable. Okay, thank you so much for understanding. I'm just trying to create a space, that's all. Just a space. I'm just trying to create a space for my program, that's all. That's just one thing I'm just trying to do. I'm trying to create a space for my program. Okay, now I think it's okay now. Okay, $20,000. Now yes, this is what I want. Now as you can see here, balance after loan deduction is 15,000. As you can see here. Now please call up. You know why I'm using this? Why I was trying to do this was, now I don't need to do that. Just in my debit, I create a space like this. It's okay for me now. Now $20,000. Now this is exactly what I want. Now balance after loan deduction is $15,000. Debit loan is what, 5,000. They always take away what, 5,000 from me every time they pay me my salary. Anytime they pay my salary, let's say $20,000. Now let me terminate it, let me run it. Okay, let's say $20,000. Now this is it, this is just it after balance. Now after balance, this is what I get. Balance after loan deduction is $15. Now I'm trying to make sure I give a space here. That's why if you take a look, I always come back here to try and do something. Now this, I get this right, this amount is not close to my what, dollar sign. Now I make this one closer, because if you print it, it's going to look like this. See this, there's a space, this, there's no space. Why? See, the symbol is close to what, the last double quote. It has to be close to the last double quote. If it's like this is how it's going to print it. There will be a space here, and a compiler also see it as a space too. Now this is it, this is what I was trying to do to make sure my program is looking nice. Now this is $20,000, you can count. Now this I look like now. This dollar sign symbol is now close to the integer value, which is what, the amount. Now balance after loan deduction is $15,000. Debit loan, the minus from is this. This is what I'm just trying to pass to you here. Remember, the program is called loan deduction program. Now this is loan deduction program. Now let's take a look again. Now this variable being declared, some is assigned, some is not assigned. My balance, always remember, my balance is at 0. They see my balance is at 0. Now this has to do with what? This has to do with what? Print this out. Just print. This is just print. Just print it out. Just print it out. Print out. Just print out for me, so that the programmer, the person using it can know what to do. The person that want to make the input. Now print it out. Now this is what? Pass in the input. Now make an input. This is what? Make an input. Make an input. Input. That's what I call it. Input. Just make an input. Make an input. Now passing the input to balance. Passing the input to balance. Just pass it. Passing the input to balance. Now this is what? Condition. Check the what? Condition. Just check the condition for me. Check the condition for me if it's true or no. Now balance is what? Greater than what? 10,000. This is 10,000. You can count. This is 10. You can count the rest. This is 1, 2, 3. Now check the condition for me. Now here minus. Now subtract. That is what it's called. Subtract any, let me say, any input into my balance. With my comment, you can understand. Any input into my balance. That means I'm saying subtract. Just subtract any input into my balance. Now this is print it out. Just print the result after subtracting. Print out the result. Now results, print out the result. Please help me to print out the result. That's what I mean here. Just help me to print out the result. Now, and I always call the variable. Please remember, I call up what the original debit of the loan, because I say pass this to this, and I call up what this data type here, pass it to here. I told you before, it's like erase. I have to transfer what the raise to the next person. The next person will transfer to the next person. We have we have 3 persons here. This value is known as A, this one is known as B, this one is known as C, this is known as D. Now this value passes to what? The first person. I mean loan percentage. This loan percentage come down here and pass it to what? Debit again. Now I call up the debit originally to print out what the original what money I'm owing. Now so that I can print this out. Balance after loan deduction is 15. Now debit loan is what? 5. Remember, this is what I call here. I call this here. Just print it out for me without what? Deduction. Now print the deduction for me. This is deduction. I call the deduction. I call straight loan percentage. I call up the loan now. Now minus it from my balance, because somebody what input make an input. Somebody what deposited in my account, make it deposit. Then it credit my account, known as credit. It make a what? A deposit. It make a deposit. Remember, make and what input to what? Deposit. To deposit. Make an input to deposit. That means make an input. Make an input. Deposit. Now just make an input deposit. Now do not forget, this will not appear here. Let's Control X and run it again. It will not appear. It's just what a comment. Now let's say 20,000 again. Now after my balance after loan deduction is 15. Debit loan is. Now we're going to be checking another using what? Another statement, using an increment. Why are we using an increment? If I pay my what?
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.